Hi, I'm Marisa, and I'm a psychology student into everything psychology. I'm also very much into consumerism, conscious consumerism, project planning. I'm into things, makeup, and environmental issues. And to reach a larger audience, I know what I want to say is already prevalent in the masses, which is acquainted with English, more or less. But the local audience also needs to hear about this, not just from me to be a bigger picture myself, but also because it's very necessary in this age and day to rise above our selfish consumer behaviors and think about the planet a little bit and also think about our own selves. So I would be talking both in English and Bengali. Consumption, consumption is where you consume. You are buying, you are using. That is consumption. I think everyone can understand. It can be food, it can be clothing, it can be entertainment things, it could be anything else which you are buying and you are using. Now, there is a definition of consumerism which comes from the word consumption, which is related. Consumerism means it refers to the policies that emphasize consumption. তো কনজাম্পশনকে এমফাসাইজ করার জন্য যে প্রসেসটা ইউজ হচ্ছে দ্যাট ইজ কনজিউমারিজম দ্যাট হোল থিং ইজ কল্ড কনজিউমারিজম সো কনজিউমারিজম থেকে যেটা আসে সেটা হচ্ছে এখনকার দিনে কনজিউমারিজম ইজ অন দ্য রাইজ পিপল আর ফোর্সড to seeing Instagram ads all the time. They are spending way more amount of time than they did previously on shopping, food, entertainment, especially online shopping, especially because যদি একটা click of the mouse বা একটা tap you are able to sit at the luxury of your home and buy goods and services also, then why will I not avail that? And because people are availing that so much, there is a rise in consumerism. There is a rise in consumption. Rising consumptions is very obvious. Like এখনকার দিনে influencers, people are aspiring to be influencers because influencers are actually shopta they come back from holidays, they go outside and they come back to their homes and they say I was away and I received a huge box, like a huge number of PR boxes. So they keep half of the things. They possess hundreds and hundreds of lipsticks, 50 blushes. So it is not normal. Aage century te, even our mothers might have had like at the max 10 lipsticks. Like previous century te, our grandmothers might have owned say 2 lipsticks or one, which they used for years and they finished it. And then they went over to the next one. So সেই জিনিসটা এখন নেই at this point of time. I cannot quote the research right now, but women before they used to buy 10 pieces of clothing a year. Now an average woman buys 56 pieces of clothing a year, uses an average piece of clothing for 7 times before discarding it in 2 years. আগেকার দিনে women used to wear one piece of clothing for 10 years before discarding it. 10 years, and they used to use it regularly. So 10 years would obviously give you way more than 7 uses, probably like 100 uses. If I'm wearing it for average of 10 times a year, so that's 100 uses. So that was way more economical. That was more logical, where you are buying stuff and you are using the stuff. You are not buying stuff to collect stuff. You are buying stuff to use the stuff. এখন makeup, clothes, এগুলো হয়ে গেছে collectibles. They are not consumable goods anymore. They are collectibles. We see people talk about my makeup collection. Your makeup is not supposed to be a collection. Your makeup is supposed to be something you use. It's not supposed to be kept as a collection. It is supposed to be used organically. You're not supposed to buy another blush when you already own 12, say 10 blushes. You're not supposed to go to Sephora or Zudio every week and get something or the other. এটা ওয়েস্টে আরো বেশি হয়, where mini Sephora haul, mini Ulta haul. এগুলো সব অনেক বেশি দেখা যায়, বাট এখানেও সেটা কম নয়, বিকজ নায়িকা পিঙ্ক ফ্রাইডে সেল, নায়িকা সামার ফ্রাইডে সেল, নায়িকা এই সেল, নায়িকা ওই সেল, Myntra sale, year-end sale, season sale, this sale, that sale. Amazon, there's the rise in fast fashion, and I'm going to talk about fast fashion in another video. I'm not going to talk about it here because that would make the video very long, and that's a whole another issue which needs to be tackled very much so. Because more than conscious consumerism, there is a very urgent need to talk about not to there's a more urgent need to be aware about fast fashion, and whether we are engaging in or not. 9 out of 10 times we are engaging in fast fashion. এখনকার দিনে কাপড়টাকে বানানোটাও একটা অলমোস্ট মানে অনেক technologically advanced হওয়ার জন্য on a large scale machines are used, and then on a large scale factories are producing cloth. So even if you are buying a piece of cloth and going to a tailor and getting your own clothing stitched, there is a small aspect of fast fashion in it, but even less so, because tashara, every time you go out, you go to pantaloons, you go to trends, you go to biba. Fast fashion na ogulo, of course ogulo fast fashion. They are being produced on a bulk. They are being produced quickly because there's a huge clientele base যাদেরকে তোমাকে তাড়াতাড়ি অনেক টাইপ অফ জামা দিতে হবে আর রেগুলারলি চেঞ্জ করতে হবে। Zara, H&M, they are purely fast fashion. They are purely fast fashion. Majority of the clothes ends up in landfills. But what I want to talk about here, this was probably an introduction to whatever I am going to talk about in the future. Today I want to focus on materialism and its relation on satisfaction. Or I'm going to quote this research study by Lee and Ann, যেখানে বলছে consumption, negative relationship between excessive consumption, materialism, and consumer well-being. CWB. So the more you consume, there is a decreased consumer well-being for many reasons. এই রিসার্চটাতে আমি অতটা ডিপলি যাচ্ছি না. You can check it out if you are interested as to why the more you consume, the less happier, the less content you are. You can go through this research. It's published by the Journal of Consumer Affairs. There are many creators who are already talking about this. One of my favorite creators is Shauna Ripari. যে এই ব্যাপারে অনেক কথা বলেছে. She had a makeup era and now she is more into the hardcore conscious consumerism stuff. So what is conscious consumerism? Consumerism, I hope you have understood. Consumerism is where there is an emphasis on consumption, where there is a emphasis on consuming, buying more. And there is always a buy more, declutter, and buy again cycle. There is never a I am buying more and I'm using everything, because a person only has one body. A person only has two cheeks. A person only has one set of lips. You cannot possibly use the 50 lipsticks you have, and you cannot use that up. You cannot use the you cannot use the 100 pieces of clothing, 200 pieces of clothing, which you buy every year and then actually use them all, because there are only 365 days in a year. So they cannot, even if you use each piece of clothing for, say, 100 times, no, for if you have 100 pieces, 200 pieces of clothing, and if you use at least each clothing one time a year, you cannot use it for more than, say, 10 years, not even 10 years. You cannot use it for more than 2-3 years before you feel like, I don't use this enough. That means I don't need it. I have not given time to like it. You have no time to know what you like and what you don't like, because the number of uses per item of clothing decreases as you have more pieces of clothing. Same for makeup. Same for everything else, whatever you are buying, especially things which are not considered necessities after a point of time. So that is all I want to say. And conscious consumerism is where you're conscious of what you're buying. You are aware of what you are doing, of what you are consuming, and whether you can use up this thing in its within its expiration date, or you can use this product before you are tired of it and you want to just give it away to someone. If you are giving it away to someone, that is fine if they are going to use it, but before you throw it away. That's all I'm saying. Because fast fashion quality is terrible. Fast fashion and quality could be kharab hai. You possibly cannot use that thing for like a more number of times. If you can, if you're able to use it very regularly, good for you. But majority Jama Kapoor, Goriya Hate holo, Hati Bagane holo, they are not meant to last you. They are not meant to last you for 5 years, 6 years. They're not meant to stay in your wardrobe. They are meant to be used for a few times, say 1 year, 2 years, and then they're supposed to be thrown away because that is the quality they use. They used the cheapest material, employ the cheapest laborers in sweatshops, sell it at the cheapest price. And ওটাতে কি হয় শুধু ল্যান্ডফিলের সাইজ বাড়ে, তোমার পকেটের হোলটার সাইজ বাড়ে, and your well-being goes down. Your consumer well-being just decreases. A research I'm not going to go in detail, but you can look into it. So that is all I wanted to talk about is as an introduction to the future topics that I am going to refer to. Thank you.